Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cynthia. Thank you for being here, and thank you for coming back if you're not new here. I wanted to introduce a new layout and spread that I'm working on for entrepreneurs, people who are starting a business or running their own business or managing a business, or whatever, having a creative side hustle, right? Like an Etsy shop or being a card reader or whatever. Like this requires, whether you're a capitalist or not, which I'm against free market capitalism. That's the world we live in, right? So you have to engage with the monetary world for the most part, unless you're going to go way, way, way off grid. And I'm personally someone who stepped out of the pay worker system and into starting my own business fairly recently, which is really also what piqued my interest to start doing money layouts, because I'm very interested in that now, right? As someone who's got to generate all my own business and hustle and everything. And so that's kind of what inspired me to do this layout. And I'm going to be doing a monthly blog for a quarter moon financial entrepreneur layout that people can go on and read the blog post as well, instead of just a video. So if that's of interest, I can drop a link at some point to the blog. And then otherwise, the only other thing I wanted to introduce it with is this uncirculated dollar bill, which is a silver certificate dollar bill this one's from 1957, but they started issuing these in the United States in 1934. This is no longer a silver certificate, meaning I can't take this to a treasury and request the silver dollar in exchange. That was once what these silver certificate dollars were for. But anyways, the reason that I'm bringing this is a good luck charm that my uncle gave me, who also started his own business and went out on his own. He was a Vietnam veteran in the Air Force. And when he came home, he worked for people for a while, but really found that he was going to be better off going out on his own. And that's what he did. And he did the hard scrabble climb to generating this amazing business for himself that he sold and retired on. And he was a steel fabricator. So he had a pretty lucrative business by the time he sold it and retired. Not without a lot of really hard blood, sweat, and tears. And he was very proud of me. And I think in my dad's place, my dad would have maybe done something like this too. He gave me this as a good luck charm for my business. And it's one that I keep on my altar. I also have a mercury dime that can be useful for money magic and money spells as well. There's all kinds of ways you can bring luck to your finances. Burning a money candle, a green candle, and I'm curious if you have ways that you do that, what they are, let me know. And so for now, this is from a deck that I just ordered from a gentleman that created it for business readings. And because I wanted to find a deck that was specifically about entrepreneurship and money management, I found this deck online, and this is him, and this is his deck. So you're going to have to bear with me a little bit in the beginning, because I'm learning what these cards mean. And it's a very thought out, complex symbolism system, very Jungian, right up my alley. So far, I really love this deck. I've only used it a couple times for myself and my own financial readings, but I'm going to use it for the first time here on my channel. And this is a deck I'll be working with in the blog as well for the quarter moon entrepreneur readings that I'll be posting on my website. So what's going to be important for you to know right now for business? Just a general collective message for this collective who are entrepreneurs and trying to generate income for themselves through their own creative work, right? What is going to be important for them to know right now? What's the current climate for them in business, for you in business, for us, right? In this general collective energy. Okay. So it's looking like what this spread is going to help us with, what this layout is going to help us with, is this Ace of Coins card here. So very in keeping with my very first reading on financial entrepreneurship, right? So with the Ace of Pentacles or the Ace of Coins in tarot, that is the card of the inception of something becoming manifest in the material world, like an offer or an idea about a business or about money. It's the spark that's going to ignite this idea, this entrepreneurship idea. That's what this layout is going to be able to help you with, is how to bring this entrepreneurial spirit or idea or decision into being. That's what this layout's going to be helping you with. And now to read these last 3 cards, I need a little bit of help here, reminders from his guides. So this card here is what's going to require you to get this off the ground, right? To get this going. What's going to be required of you? And it's the investigator card. So my sense is that, and these shapes and symbols in here all have qualities that they speak to. So one thing that's going to be required of you is to be an investigator and to be an innovator, to be willing to find the spark to get this earth element based idea off the ground, to find the fire element within you, to get it initiated. Fire is initiative, right? It's active. So this is saying you need to be an active investigator in terms of looking into what has been done already, right? For example, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can start doing investigating to figure out similar ideas from past entrepreneurs. How have they gotten their ideas off the ground? Was it a matter of going and marketing around and selling your idea to get investors ahead of it, or what, right? Like, that's what this card is about. And it says in the investigator position, bring rarity to the masses. So even more specifically, looking into and doing your research on a niche that where you can plug this idea that you have for your interest area. Where can you find in the market, right? In the world, it doesn't have to be of money, literally, like finance. It can be in a trade market, right? It can be in a mutual aid market. So my intent is that these layouts are going to have general application. So let's say you're not starting your own business, but you're trying to start your own mutual aid network, right? These can benefit that, because the material world is not just coin. It's also resources, time, attention, investment, right? Bodily work, blood, sweat, and tears. All of that is the material world. And what it's saying is, it's going to be really important for you right now to find the spark in you to do the research to figure out, how can I make this into a niche where there's an absence in the market or in the community that I can take this idea and plug it into that niche, like creating something that's missing. I've gone back and forth over the years about living abroad, moving and leaving the United States and living somewhere else. And I have my places that I've kind of narrowed it down to, but a big part of that investigation for me is like, well, how would I plug in there so that I have something to offer there, a niche there that I'm able to provide this to the community I'm moving to in a way that it wasn't present before, but now I'm offering it as a contribution. My goal is never to move in and gentrify or take from the place I'm moving to and capitalize on it without what do I have to offer, right? That's what this is saying. Where is your niche? That's what you need to be looking into right now. What next here? The next card position in card position 3 is what actions you will need to take. And this is the Professor card. It's a third, so there's 3 triangles here, which is interesting because that's the card of diamonds. It's the card of investigation, sensation, and innovation, or the symbol, and it's a fire symbol. So investigate, innovate, and I guess that's it. Sorry. I was like, wasn't there a third word there? Anyways, here's these 3 triangles, right? So this is a lot of fire element that's present here, and that's going to be helpful in getting this off the ground. So fire element, Professor. advance your field. So not only is it suggesting that you think about where is your niche and where can you get your idea off the ground in your community and in this place that you are going to decide to plant yourself and work, whether that's online or a storefront or whatever, right? Out of your home, out of your front door, in your backyard, maybe having a backyard community kitchen, something like that, right? So it's saying find your niche and then also provide advancement to your field. So the most obvious example of this that I can think of off the top of my head, to not only find where you fit, but how to further advance the work that you are doing and what by contributing to a broader field. I'm a clinical social worker, and one of social work's ethics is not only am I to go into a community or hospital setting or whatever and provide care and ethical comfort to those who are needing it in the medical system or emotionally or whatever, I'm also, part of my code of ethics as a social worker is to advance the field of social work through research, through representing my field well, being a good representative of social work. Unfortunately, if you've had encounters with social workers, there are a lot of social workers that have not done that, right? Like that are not, like there are lots of people out there rightly that are like, I don't want any part of having a social worker involved in my life because that might have been somebody like CPS or whatever, right? But advancing, being willing to, not only am I going to create this mutual aid kitchen for people around me that are doing these building projects, I'm also going to write about it and blog about it so that other intentional communities who are doing similar work can see my process and advance their own work, like for the common good, right? That's what that means. And then finally, position 4 for your project is provocateur. So you're going to also need to be bold, courageous, and provocative. Find your niche, advance your cause aside from just your own niche in your own world. And then also be willing to be provocative, be willing to be bold and risk-taking in order to set your idea apart, right? So that's the wrong one here. So that's, again, a triangle card, right? With provocateur, although there's also a square, which is, and the symbol is flag here. Push people's boundaries. So I love it. This is really a great time to take action. There's a lot of fire element here, and that is going to be how you ground in this idea that you have, is by taking action and by being bold and courageous and innovative. But you also need to be investigative, and you also need to remember to advance the common good, not just your own brand, right? Or your own business, but how are you going to be a presence in your community? Like, let's say you're starting a business in your community. Are you going to offer your workers insurance? Are you going to offer them childcare? Are you going to, so how can you advance the work that you're doing for the common good? There's going to be some cards now that I'd like to pull just about, what are some good questions that you can ask yourself as you initiate? What are some questions to keep in mind and to be sort of like, as they say, like, let's put a pin in that. Like, let's ask a couple questions that are going to be questions that you can keep on your radar to ask throughout this initiation phase, right? That can kind of guide you as guiding principle questions for this endeavor. Say something about illness and how it has affected your life. Boom, we just mentioned, like, so if you're starting an entrepreneurial endeavor, even if it's a mutual aid food kitchen, what are you going to do for those around you who become sick? What are you going to do if you are sick? How are you going to initiate the support or elicit the support that you need from those around you, right? How is illness and sickness going to be addressed in this endeavor? How are you going, like if you're starting your own business, this is something I've had to face, starting my own business as a social worker. I've always had paid time off, pretty much, not in some jobs, like where I've been a housekeeper too. I've had a lot of kitchen housework, stuff like that as well, where I didn't have benefits. But now that I'm in business for myself again, like if I'm sick and I have to cancel my appointments that day, it's been a hard realization to be like, you aren't going to earn that day. You just lose all that income, right? So those are going to be great questions to keep in mind. How is illness going to be factored in, and vulnerability to this endeavor? What else? Tell me about a depressing time in your life. So again, like what are you going to do when you start getting discouraged, or when push comes to shove and you've had a hard few months on this endeavor, right? What are you going to do at times that you're getting discouraged? What's going to be your plan for that? How are you going to motivate yourself to keep going? Or another question is, where is your line? Like, how long are you willing to try on an idea and see it not come to fruition before you say, maybe I need to pivot here and adjust something that I might have been really attached to, but that's clearly not working? That's a great question. But this specifically speaks of depression. So either you, as somebody who's initiating this endeavor, might have that in your background and in your makeup, prone to melancholy or depressive episodes even. Who will pick this up if you are needing to tend to your own care and depression? What will you do if you hit a depression wall in the middle of a time when there's a lot of action required for this endeavor and you may not have it to give, right? So these are great questions to be asking in this early stage. How am I going to mitigate for times where I don't feel up for what's required? I know that too about my own self. That's why I went into business for myself, was because I didn't want to live up to what the system was demanding of me anymore. And I had enough confidence to know I am a good enough clinician to go out on my own. And so I went for it. But I've had to face like many moments of discouragement, including going back to interview at one of my old employers because I was starting to get worried about security around health and around, paying for things that right now are a big stretch, for example. One more. Because having these exciting creative ideas, it's wise to plan for what about when I don't have the energy to give it? Capitalism doesn't allow for that. But if you want to have an ethical business that you're more secure in being successful in, it's wise to not pretend, right? It's wise to try to plan in advance for how you're going to address times where you're discouraged or worried. Finally, talk about a time when breaking news interrupted your day. So this to me sort of speaks about the common good, and something like when you hear breaking news, often breaking news impacts the market, right? I'm not speaking just about the stock market, but about even breaking news about a school shooting. That impacts many service providers, right, who have to deal day in and day out with that kind of risk, not just teachers, but school staff, janitors, right, volunteers, the children themselves, right? So there's, sorry, what was this question again? It just went out of my mind. Oh, when breaking news interrupted your day. So how is your business and your endeavor going to respond to unpredictable global or community-based crises? When a breaking news crisis interrupts or comes across your awareness, how is your group or business endeavor going to respond? Are you going to try to be a helper and a provider? Are you going to try to shut down operation until things are safe again, right? Like, what is going to be your contingency plan for a natural disaster or a shooting? Sadly, we have to think about that if we're going to have a physical business location, right? Especially if we're in an intense field for some reason. So these are all great questions to be asking yourself, but this is how to make this into a reality. And it's encouraging you to be bold. It's like saying you're onto something here. Be bold with it. Find the niche for it. Move forward. This is how it's going to succeed. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull some tarot now, and that will be the end of this layout. And if you like this or would like to see more of this, let me know. Please let me know. I'm interested to know how any of this lands. Always. Any will work great. What are some final thoughts for this endeavor? Final 3 messages that you should keep in mind with in harmony with these 3 triangles. Wow, big energy it looks like. Celebrate. You have a winning idea here, 10 of Cups. If you pursue this and follow this kind of wise on the front end, kind of strategic thinking about getting this off the ground, it's going to be everything you hoped. This 10 of Cups here is amazing. It's like the working in harmony with your soul's desires for your life. It's deciding to do this has come to ahead for you because of what's gone down in the past. It sounds similar to what happened to me, where I was working in the medical industry and field during COVID, and I have my whole career worked with trauma survivors and done intense clinical mental health work. And during the pandemic, I just could not jump to the tune of the employer anymore because I was being completely burned out and not respected in return. So I left because I just could not do it anymore. And starting my own endeavor was the light at the end of the tunnel for me, or a light, like a guiding light, like a star that guided me out of that stress-inducing time, like traumatizing experience I was having, and into freedom, right? The Knight of Pentacles. So finally, it's not going to happen overnight. And you probably know this, and you hear that over and over again from people who've gone before us, who've started their own business from nothing, have built it from the ground up. They say it takes patience, it takes time, and it takes planning for these kinds of contingencies, right? It takes methodical, committed, disciplined effort that can feel like a grind. And it might feel a little weird at times, like I did this to get out of the grind, and yet here I am spinning my wheels and I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. I've had many days like that. I'm still early in my own business, right? But by committing and by keeping your focus and keeping going and making some of these contingency plans in the early stages, it's going to bring you this 10 of Cups. It's really beautiful. This is a great idea. It's a blessed idea. It's pure in its form. And if you work responsibly with it and cautiously and strategically, it's going to yield amazing things for you and carry you right out of whatever caused this burdensome experience. So it's so super exciting. Congratulations. And if you'd like a personal reading, I'll have information in the description box about how you can request a reading with me. So thank you much, and I'll see you next time. Oof, my foot fell asleep.